the way that they taught me, to me, was crazy. We were up north. Native American came to me, spirit, put his arm around me, and he flashed his hands up in the sky, and all the stars erased, like he had erased a blackboard. And then he threw up into the sky this diagram. And it was a big balloon with 50 small balloons inside of it, each of them a lifetime. And he said, look, and he just took 5 of the balloons and pulled it out of the 50. He said, this is a new incarnation. This is what comes into a physical body and tries to refine those previous lifetimes in a combined effort and in a complete purposeful effort. So I'm sure you've had people that had near-death experiences that said that they choose the family that they came into. Right? Well, because you actually stand on the precipice of the worlds, and when you agree to incarnate, you'll get a choice. They'll go, look, you can choose this family, this family, this family, and this family, because these 5 different family experiences relate to the lessons that you want to learn. This family will teach humility that you want to learn. This family will teach you poverty that will teach you this other lesson from this other lifetime. You can see how coordinated it really is. There's no randomness to our life at all. When I was 15, I did past life regression, and I experienced 2 of them in that session in the early 70s. And that was the 1500s. I was a farmer. I lost my parents. It was just my sister and I. We had raised each other. And then another where I happened to be a librarian. I was a woman in the 1700s, and I worked in a library. Incongruent, it seems. But the other 3 were all what I call geographical memories. I was in China when I connected to the Chinese places. I was actually walking down the street in a village that I'd lived in 1,500 years ago. I actually will go to a place that you lived in a past life, and it comes to you. It's like a thunderbolt. I touched this building, and suddenly the video just started playing in my head. So the last lifetime that I had was in the 40s, where I was actually a film and television producer. I found my old office in this lifetime from my previous lifetime. And that sort of segues me into this concept that people talk about, well, how can a 5-year-old be a concert pianist? Well, he brought that lifetime forward. He was a concert pianist in his last lifetime, and that's one of his reincarnated purposes in this lifetime. He did it before. So when I became vice president of Paramount Pictures at the early age of only 30 years old, it didn't make any sense. Well, yes, it did, because I'd done it just in the last lifetime. And I had that sense when I was very young. When I was 5 or 6, I knew I knew how to make movies. I didn't have the understanding. I just knew it. It was just in me. So when I got on a film set in my early 20s, it was immediate for me. It was just natural. And I went from being a production assistant to being a producer in less than 2 years. It had nothing to do with my practical experience. People would just say, well, you have an instinct for this. Yeah, last lifetime. And again, you can't talk about it or bring it up to people, but that is the reality and how it happens. I would tell you one of the most important things that I saw in healing in the last year is that it all comes back to the purpose of your incarnation. So you can come back to my 5 lifetimes, right? 2 as an ancient Chinese, a couple of others, and as a film producer. So how would those work together, right? Well, the 2 lifetimes I lived in ancient China, I was a feudal warrior. All I did is go from town to town and fight. That's what you did back then in 600 AD. You got hired to fight whatever warlord was going on for a couple of years, and then you moved on to the next town and fought that fight. That's what I did. When I come into this lifetime, and I'm given the circumstances that I'm giving, what did I have to do? I had to fight for my life. And I had to find a way to right the wrongs to a certain extent. I fought in a purpose of trying to make the place better. I'm doing the same thing again in this lifetime. That's how they come together. You say, well, what about the librarian? Well, it's been incredible because I'm a voracious reader and have been since I was a child. And that's helped me tremendously. That's helped me become a writer. That's helped me do the work that I'm doing. That helps me be able to do these things that gets the message out to the people. So you can take those lifetimes and see exactly why I picked those 5 and made this combination into what I agree to do this time.